What's up everyone, Tom from the Airsoft headquarters here, and welcome back. Today we're going to start to revamp our 5-minute fixes where we take some of the common issues of gear, guns, and accessories and try to help you guys trouble fix or even solve any sort of common issues that you guys may have. I know there's a lot of newer players, especially coming off the holiday season, that just got their first guns, getting their first gear, and probably have a lot of questions about how things work. So we're going to restart these so we can answer all those questions as we possibly can. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to keep these videos under 5 minutes to keep everything rolling as quickly as possible. So we're going to start the timer now. First thing, what is a hop-up unit? A hop-up unit allows for the BB to have a type of backspin that allows it to fly further and straighter. The most common principle that this is applied to is basketballs or baseballs within sports. The airsoft rifles are going to use what is called the Magnus effect that is going to help the lighter projectile to travel, a longer distance and kind of help defy the laws of gravity. What do those hop-up units look like? Well, the most common ones are going to be M4 style of hop-up units. Generally, they're going to be a very wide range, just dependent on the overall platform. Here is a style of an AK hop-up unit. And here are two different ones that are coming from M4s. The ones from M4s I have up here on the board. Obviously you have a wide selection of stock hop-up units that are going to come inside of rifle platforms, and you have another even wider range of selection as far as aftermarket, customized, or upgradable hop-up units available for any type of platform. What's happening inside of the hop-up unit is this is going to sit inside of the barrel assembly and this is going to sit inside of the receiver. So what happens is when you load a magazine up into the rifle, the magazine is going to sit right about there and it's going to load BBs up into the hop-up unit. So as the BBs are going to sit right here, there is going to be a nozzle from the internal systems that are going to slide that BB a little bit further into the bucking, which will sit against a little patch of rubber that will give it the friction applied backspin as it gets launched outside of that barrel. So having a backspin of the BB is going to allow it to fly as far as possible. Why you want the backspin is because if a BB did not have any type of backspin and it was propelled forward out of the barrel without backspin, it would fly 40, 50 feet, where it's just going to fly and then drop very, very quickly, only about 40 or 50 feet. Now, once you start to apply that backspin, that is going to help defy the laws of gravity by applying extra rotation to allow it to fly even further. So what was 40 to 50 now can become 120 to 150, depending on the rifle platform. Once you start to get any type of upgraded hop-up units or upgraded barrels, then that 120 to 150 can become 200, 220. But those are going to be, another series for another time. How do you change the backspin of the BB? Well, consulting your user's manual, it should tell you where to find the hop-up unit. On this M4 specifically, it's going to be pulling that charging handle back, and there's going to be a window that exposes a rotating wheel. And that is going to allow me to adjust the hop-up or the amount of backspin. Is there one type of hop-up unit that is going to be more advantageous than the other? Short answer, yes, the rotary style is going to be more advantageous. Long answer, the rotary style is going to be more advantageous just due to the amount of pressure that is applied from the full wheel of rotation from the rotary style, as well as the type of lever system that is implemented in that rotary style of hop-up. Why that is so important is because I have these examples here. So there are little arms that are going to hold the nub and apply pressure down through the top of the bucking to apply even more or even less pressure to the top of the BB. When it comes to the older traditional style of hop-up units, like this guy here, these are going to lose consistency pretty quickly. For anyone that has a little bit more basic of an airsoft rifle, they probably have noticed their consistency as far as the flight path of the BB fluctuate pretty considerably after only a couple of games and needed to make adjustments. Versus any types of rifles that come stock with a rotary style pop-up unit or even upgrade to a rotary style pop-up unit, probably have noticed that they don't need to adjust that wheel nearly as much. And the reason for that is due to the fulcrum, which is the point at which the arm is going to rotate, where that is positioned, as well as where the force is applied when adjusting that arm. So when it comes to the levers themselves, if you take a pen, for example, and we look at this guy here, which is going to be the old school traditional style pop-up unit, if you hold a pen out like this and start to move it back and forth, even if you grip it fairly tightly, it doesn't take a whole lot of pressure in order to move that pen back and forth, up and down. Versus if you grab the pen in the middle of the pen and start to apply pressure, it becomes significantly harder to actually move that pen, and thus even more force is required to make those adjustments, which those adjustments are from the BB passing over the nub, which, you know, isn't a whole lot of pressure, but it is better to go with a rotary style of hop-up unit, just due to, you know, that extra pressure from the BB not adjusting where that arm sits. It also has to do as far as where that rotating wheel, where the adjustment for the hop-up is. So on the traditional style, the wheel that you rotate is parallel to the force that is applied from the BB upward. So as the BB sits inside of the chamber, it applies pressure upwards as it flies through, and your adjustments as far as downward pressure from the rotating arm is parallel here. Which means the force that is applied by the BB is very easy to apply force on the rotating arm and can unseat itself. Versus the rotary style, as that BB is passing through, you know, it's applying pressure upwards. With the rotary style, you need to rotate it in a perpendicular plane compared to that of the force that the BB is applying. So the adjustments are perpendicular, and thus as the BB passes through, it is significantly harder for that BB to make adjustments to the rotary wheel. Thus, rotary being more advantageous compared to the older school of hop-up units. So let's say you have the old school style of hop-up unit or you have a rotary style. It doesn't really particularly matter. Both are going to work. One just is going to be more advantageous than the other. What you're going to be looking for is when you set the hop-up unit, as far as in order to maximize the overall distance and accuracy of your BB projectile, is with your airsoft replica and in a safe shooting space, obviously, of course, with adult supervision if you are under the age of 18, is with magazine in a safe environment, you're going to put your eyesight towards or in parallel with the barrel itself. If you're using any type of zoom optic and you're sitting directly over where that BB flight path is, you're not going to be able to see very well how that BB is moving. So you got to be offset just a little bit and be in plane with that barrel. So what you're going to be looking for is, as that BB comes out of the inner barrel, it is going to have some backspin that is applied to it. But the momentum of the BB traveling out of the inner barrel is going to be completely flat. Until that momentum slows down, then the backspin of the BB is going to take over and apply force slightly upwards, and then it's going to very gently fall down into a very gentle drop. That is what you're going to be looking for. Straight line, soft up, and then gentle downwards. If you apply too much pressure to the BB, it is going to be just a straight up, and you're not going to really get the same effect, because now you're off 2 feet above the target and it's going to fall short. If you don't apply enough hop up, it is going to come out and just fall short. So you have to get that slight magic cascade upwards and a gentle fall downwards. And that's going to get you the magical 120 to 150. If you get something that's going to be a little bit better as far as an out-of-the-box setup, you know, you can obviously range that out much farther. But as far as like basic rifles, that is going to be the expected distance that you can get. And that's going to be the end of the video. How did we do as far as time? We'll check the timer. I think I went over. I feel like I went over, but I don't really have a clock right beside me. If you guys have any further questions about hop-up units specifically, put them down below. As far as cleaning and maintenance, we'll go over that in another video. But I'm going to leave you with this piece of advice before we go to the next video. Do not use silicone oil inside of your inner barrel or your hop-up chamber. I'll tell you why in the next video, but so everyone knows, don't use silicone oil. Anyways, you guys take care, stay safe, and stay positive, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.